The Empire had always prided itself on its power. Thousands of worlds, millions of people, and fleets that could crush entire star systems all answered to the Central Council. From their capital city, floating in orbit above the largest star in the Solari system, the leaders believed they were unstoppable. No danger seemed too great. No warning too serious. It was on a calm day in the council chambers that the warning came. The doors opened, and in glided the Veyari. They were unlike anything anyone had seen before. Tall, slender, with translucent skin that shimmered faintly, and eyes that glowed with quiet intelligence. Every step they took made the air feel heavier. Charged with some invisible energy, the council members whispered nervously. The Veyari had come without invitation, and that always meant trouble or something far more serious. One of the Veyari, taller than the others, spoke in perfect common, the language used across the galaxy. You must listen. Do not go to Earth. It is a trap. A danger your kind cannot comprehend. Murmurs spread through the council. Some laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke. Others frowned, taking the warning seriously. The council's advisor, a thin man named Halric, leaned forward. A trap? What do you mean? Earth is unremarkable. A small, quiet planet. What threat could it possibly hold? The Veyari's eyes glimmered. You will see. We have observed it for centuries. Many who have approached have vanished. The planet does not welcome invaders. It watches, waits, and reacts. Your ships, your weapons, they are irrelevant there. You will not survive if you ignore this warning. A loud voice interrupted from across the room. Commander Rax, head of the Imperial Fleet, slammed his hand on the table. Enough! We are the Empire. No planet can scare us. We conquer. We study. We take what we need. This is just fear-mongering. Another council member, a young diplomat named Sira, frowned. But, Rax, the Veyari are known for their honesty. They wouldn't come here to lie. Perhaps we should consider their warning. Rax scoffed. Consider? We have better things to do than cower at alien tales. Earth is weak. Its inhabitants are primitive. We will take it, and we will prosper. Despite Rax's arrogance, the warning lingered. The Veyari tried to demonstrate Earth's dangers, using a holographic projection. It showed fleets approaching the planet, only to be caught in invisible storms. Their ships torn apart by unseen forces. Strange creatures emerged, vanishing and reappearing, attacking without pattern or reason. Whole scouting teams had disappeared without a trace. Some council members looked uneasy. Even Halric shifted in his chair. This cannot be ignored. Look at the evidence. Their fleets didn't just fail. They vanished. This is not random. Something intelligent protects Earth. Rax waved a dismissive hand. Illusions, tricks, exaggerations. Nothing more. If the Veyari are so powerful, they should defend it themselves. But they do not. Why? Because they cannot. And because they hope to scare us. We will not be scared. The Empire will go to Earth, and we will claim it as our own. The Veyari exchanged worried glances. One of them stepped forward, their voice calm but firm. You do not understand. This is not a threat you can fight. Your arrogance blinds you. Many civilizations before yours have failed here. The planet tests all who come. You may survive its storms, but the planet's intelligence is patient. It waits, and it punishes those who ignore its warnings. Sira stood, her voice quiet but strong. Please, Council, listen to them. We cannot afford to ignore this. There is more at stake than pride. Entire fleets, entire lives, could be lost. We must be cautious. Rax sneered. You humans always think caution is wisdom. It is weakness. We have never been cautious. And that is why we are the Empire. We will go. We will conquer. And we will return stronger than ever. This is the final word. The council voted, as expected, in favor of Rax. The decision was unanimous. The Empire would send a fleet to Earth. The Veyari's warnings were ignored. Their faces remained calm, but their eyes glimmered with a strange sadness. As the fleet prepared for departure, Sira stood alone on the observation deck, staring at the stars. Her heart pounded with unease. "What are we walking into?" she whispered to herself. Days later, the fleet departed. Thousands of ships, each one bristling with weapons, glided through space toward the Sol system. The crews were confident, their minds filled with thoughts of conquest and glory. They joked, they trained, they admired the stars, unaware that the planet ahead was watching them closely. The Veyari remained behind, silently observing. One of them turned to another. "They do not understand. They never understand. Humanity may survive, but the Empire will face its trials. Earth tests all who come with arrogance." Meanwhile, deep in the heart of the Empire, scientists worked tirelessly to prepare for the conquest. They studied Earth through telescopes, analyzing its atmosphere, its oceans, its mountains. They were excited by its beauty and resources, blind to the danger lurking beneath the surface. One scientist, a man named Kyle, looked at the projections and shivered. "There is something alive here. Not just life, but intelligence. Something beyond us. I do not understand it, but it is powerful, and it watches us." His colleague laughed nervously. "Kale, stop scaring yourself. It is just a planet. Nothing more." Kale's hands trembled as he turned back to the projections. "No, it is not just a planet. I can feel it. Something waits. Something that does not forget." As the fleet approached the outer edges of the Sol system, strange things began to happen. Communication signals flickered. Navigation instruments wavered. A sense of unease spread among the crew. Commander Rax dismissed it as minor interference. "Stay calm. Systems are functioning. Nothing is wrong. It's just space, nothing more." But Sira, aboard the same ship as part of the diplomatic team, felt it differently. Her dreams were filled with strange visions. Glowing landscapes, creatures that moved like shadows, storms that swallowed entire cities. She woke up sweating, her heart racing. "It's real," she whispered. The warning, "It's real." Despite these warnings, the fleet continued. The Empire was determined. Pride, ambition, and a desire for power drove them forward. No one stopped them. No one truly listened. And far away, on Earth, the planet itself seemed to respond. The wind whispered through forests. The oceans shifted with unnatural currents. Something ancient and patient stirred beneath the surface. The warning had been clear. The Empire had ignored it. The trap was set. The Sol system looked calm and inviting. From a distance, Earth appeared as a beautiful blue-green jewel, surrounded by swirling clouds. Its oceans shimmered in the sunlight, and its continents stretched across the surface in perfect harmony. To the Empire's fleet, it seemed like the easiest conquest they had ever faced. Commander Rax stood on the bridge of the flagship Imperial Vindicator, his hands gripping the rail as he gazed at the planet. "See that? Nothing to fear. This is our new jewel. And soon, it will belong to the Empire," he said, his voice filled with pride. Sira watched silently from the corner. Her heart pounded with unease. The visions she had before reaching the planet had not left her. Shadowy creatures, storms that swallowed entire fleets, and a strange intelligence that seemed to watch every move, they all haunted her mind. "It's too calm. Too perfect," she whispered under her breath. As the fleet approached the outer orbit, strange things began to happen. Ships started to lose power suddenly. Lights flickered, and systems malfunctioned. Communication signals became distorted, and for brief moments, entire sections of the fleet disappeared from the central monitor. An officer shouted, "Sir, multiple ships are reporting navigation errors." Rax waved his hand dismissively. "Check your instruments again. This is nothing. Space is unpredictable. Stay on course. But the malfunctions were not random. Each ship was being subtly guided, almost herded, toward specific locations in the atmosphere. Some crew members reported seeing strange lights below the clouds, shimmering like dancing auroras, yet moving with purpose. Shadows shifted where there should have been nothing. Sira could not ignore the feeling of dread building inside her. "Commander, something is wrong." The Vayari were right. "This planet, it's alive. It's testing us," she warned. Rax laughed. "Alive? It's a rock with water and air. Nothing more. Stop imagining ghosts, Sira." But the warning came too late. As the first wave of ships entered low orbit, an invisible force gripped them. Hulls shuddered as if caught in a giant hand. Engines flared and sputtered. Entire sections of ships were torn apart by sudden, unseen currents. Crew members screamed in confusion and fear. Sira grabbed onto a railing to steady herself. "It's attacking. The planet is attacking." Rax's face went pale for the first time. "Impossible. Weapons fire everything." Blasters, missiles, and energy beams tore through the air, but they struck nothing. The planet seemed to absorb or redirect every attack. Ships were torn apart not by weapons, but by strange gravitational pulses, sudden magnetic storms, and anomalies that defied all known physics. Some ships tried to retreat, but they found themselves trapped. Energy fields formed invisible cages around them. Systems failed completely. Navigation computers could not read the terrain. Ships drifted helplessly toward the surface, as if the planet itself was pulling them in. In the midst of the chaos, strange creatures appeared, not visible at first, but glimpsed as shadows moving at impossible speeds. Crew members reported shapes that appeared and vanished instantly. Shapes that whispered in their minds and filled them with fear. Panic spread like wildfire. Sira clutched her communicator, trying to reach the other ships. "All units, report. Status? Static. Silence. Then broken voices. We can't control engines. It's everywhere. Can't see something taking us." The Empire's arrogance had led them straight into the trap. Every ship that had entered low orbit was now fighting for survival. But survival was no longer in their hands. The planet tested them not with weapons, but with intelligence. Every movement they made was countered. Every strategy they attempted failed. Meanwhile, from hidden vantage points on the surface, humans watched. Small, advanced teams had been observing the Empire for days. They were ready for this moment. Using technology that blended with the environment and strategies honed over centuries, they moved with precision, avoiding the anomalies that tore apart the alien ships. One human scout whispered to her team leader, "They're too predictable. They think power can win. They don't understand Earth." The humans' goal was simple: survive and observe. They did not need to fight the Empire directly. The planet itself did that. Storms would break ships, gravity fields would trap others, and strange energy currents would dismantle weapons. All the humans had to do was stay alive and help guide the survivors who could think clearly. Back on the flagship, Rax shouted orders. But the fleet was disintegrating before his eyes. Entire squadrons disappeared, sucked into invisible vortices or crushed by sudden shifts in gravity. His pride had turned to horror. This cannot be. I am the commander of the Imperial fleet. We do not fail." Sira stepped forward. "Sir, maybe that is exactly the problem. You think power alone is enough. You are forgetting caution, intelligence, and respect for forces you do not understand." Rax's face twisted in anger. "You dare lecture me now?" Before he could respond, the flagship shuddered violently. Energy readings went off the charts. The bridge tilted, alarms blaring. Crew members were thrown to the floor. The planet's energy had reached the core of the ship, disrupting everything inside. In the chaos, Sira noticed something remarkable. Small sections of the ship that had stayed calm, where crew worked together, avoided the worst of the damage. Teams that adapted quickly used logic instead of brute force. and cooperated with each other survived longer than those who panicked or followed rigid orders. It was a lesson in humility. The Empire's arrogance had blinded them, but human adaptability shone as a small, flickering light. As night fell on Earth, the planet itself seemed to breathe. Storms gathered above wrecked ships. Shadows moved across the surface like living fingers, searching, probing, testing. Ships that survived until now were trapped in orbit, forced to follow the planet's subtle guidance. Sira spoke to the surviving officers. We need to observe, understand, and work together. This planet is not just a trap, it's a test. And if we survive, it will be because we are clever, brave, and united. The surviving humans on the planet's surface sent signals to the trapped crews. Small, coded instructions guided them through gravitational anomalies, helping them avoid sudden bursts of destructive energy. Slowly, some ships managed to stabilize. But the Empire's fleet was already a shadow of its former strength. Rax refused to believe it. We cannot retreat. We are the Empire. Fight. Fight to the last ship. Sira shook her head. If you continue blindly, you will die. This is not a battle you can win with firepower. And the planet waited. Patient. Intelligent. Unforgiving. Every decision, every movement of the intruders was observed, recorded, and challenged. Earth was more than a world, it was a living guardian, testing the arrogance of a galactic empire. By the end of the first night, the fleet was in chaos. Many ships were destroyed. Those that remained were trapped in orbit or drifting helplessly toward destruction. Panic, fear, and disbelief filled the survivors. They had come seeking conquest. But instead, they had found a force far beyond their understanding. And far below, humans watched in silence, ready for what was to come. They knew this was only the beginning. The Empire had underestimated Earth, and they would soon learn why. The warning had been clear. The trap had been set. And now, the Empire was caught in the planet's grip. But amidst the fear and destruction, a single truth became evident. Survival would depend not on weapons, but on intelligence, adaptability, and courage. And humanity had plenty of all three. The trap had begun. The dawn on Earth was quiet, almost serene. But the calm hid a dangerous truth. Above the planet, the remnants of the Imperial fleet drifted helplessly, trapped in the strange energy fields and gravitational anomalies that Earth controlled. Ships were damaged, crew members exhausted, and morale shattered. Commander Rax, once proud and confident, now paced the bridge of his flagship, the Imperial Vindicator, unable to comprehend what was happening. Sira watched the chaos unfold. Her heart heavy with concern, but her mind sharp. She had seen the patterns the planet was creating, the way it tested the intruders. The Empire is strong, she thought, but strength alone cannot survive here. Only cleverness, teamwork, and respect for the unknown will. Below, hidden in forests, mountains, and underground tunnels, humans moved silently. They were not primitive in skill, only in technology compared to the Empire's ships, but their understanding of Earth, its rhythms, its energy, its subtle intelligence made them extraordinary. Small teams had observed the intruders for days, learning how the planet reacted to different actions. Now, it was time to act. A young human strategist, Mara, addressed her team. The Empire believes power is everything. They are predictable, rigid, and fearful when their control fails. Earth has given us the advantage. We move carefully, we stay together, and we guide those who can think clearly. Survival is our weapon. The humans began to communicate with the trapped crews. Using encoded signals, they directed ships away from destructive energy currents and into calmer orbit paths. These were subtle adjustments, never forcing the Empire's hand, only offering small chances for those willing to observe and adapt. Meanwhile, Commander Rax refused to listen. We are the Empire. Retreat is weakness. Fire on anything that moves. A missile launched from one of the surviving ships struck nothing and immediately vanished into a shimmering bubble of energy. Crew members screamed as the planet redirected the attack back toward the ship that had fired it, harmlessly, but enough to terrify the soldiers. Sira shook her head. Weapons will not save them. Only thinking and learning can. Even Rax began to see cracks in his command. Some officers, exhausted and terrified, ignored his orders. They followed Sira's subtle instructions and survived longer than those who obeyed blindly. It was the first time the Empire's pride had been challenged not by enemies, but by the planet itself and the humans who understood it. On the surface, humans began small, calculated interventions. They guided small groups of Imperial soldiers through natural hazards, using knowledge of Earth's unique systems to avoid deadly anomalies. They remained unseen, leaving no trace. But their intelligence and teamwork allowed more crews to survive than Earth's defenses alone might have allowed. A fleet officer, stunned by the survival of his team, whispered to his neighbor, How are we still alive?" Sira's voice came through the communicator. "Because you are willing to learn, to adapt. The planet tests arrogance. If you understand, you survive. If you resist, you perish." Even as the Empire struggled, Earth continued its testing. Gravity waves shifted unpredictably. Energy storms tore apart entire sections of orbit. And invisible currents guided or trapped ships. Crew members who panicked were thrown from their positions, their ships damaged beyond repair. But those who worked with the environment, who watched and learned, began to navigate the planet's subtle patterns. For the first time, the Empire realized that conquest was impossible without understanding. Their arrogance had led them into a trap, but intelligence and cooperation could allow survival. Commander Rax refused to acknowledge this. He demanded obedience and power, but chaos had already weakened his command. Ships moved independently, crews followed instinct and reasoning, and Earth's force continued to test them. On the surface, Mara led a group of humans to a high vantage point. From there, they could see the trapped ships and the strange energy patterns swirling around them. "We cannot fight directly," she said, "but we can teach them to survive. The planet does not kill for no reason. It punishes arrogance, but it rewards understanding. If they learn, some may live." The humans' actions were subtle but effective. By guiding the Empire's crews, they showed what the planet required: observation, adaptation, and cooperation. Ships that followed the guidance survived storms that should have destroyed them. Soldiers who listened and worked with each other avoided deadly anomalies. Rax grew desperate. "No! Follow my orders! Fire! Attack!" But the planet ignored him. Gravity fields shifted under his flagship. Energy currents disrupted his weapons. And strange shadows danced around the fleet. Crew members saw visions of strange creatures, glimpses of patterns too complex to understand. Fear spread like wildfire, and obedience crumbled. Sira remained calm. She used her knowledge of Earth's systems to help those willing to think and act carefully. "Do not fight the planet," she instructed. "Move with it. Learn from it. Survive." One by one, ships began to stabilize under her guidance. Those that clung to power and arrogance perished. Those who adapted survived. Humans had proven that intelligence, courage, and teamwork could triumph where raw force failed. Rax watched in disbelief as his fleet dwindled. Pride, ambition, and arrogance had brought them here. But only humility, observation, and cleverness could bring them out alive. The lesson was harsh, but undeniable. By the second night, the Empire's fleet was a shadow of its former self. Hundreds of ships had been destroyed. Thousands of crew members lost. The surviving forces were trapped, humbled, and forced to follow the humans' guidance. On the surface, Mara addressed her team. "We do not conquer with weapons. We survive with intelligence. The Empire will leave, but they will remember this. Humanity has shown strength not in power, but in understanding, adaptability, and unity. This is the future of our kind." The humans moved quietly, leaving no trace, ensuring that their guidance was enough to save lives but not enough to give the Empire a foothold. Earth had tested the invaders, and humanity had passed. Finally, Commander Rax, broken and humiliated, had no choice but to order retreat. The remaining ships followed Syrah's guidance back into deep space. Shaken and changed, they had faced a world far beyond their understanding, and they had survived only because some humans were willing to teach them how. As the fleet departed, the Veyari returned, observing from afar. They nodded silently to each other. "Humanity is strong," one said, "not because of technology, but because of mind, courage, and spirit. They will survive the trials ahead." Syrah watched the retreating fleet, her heart heavy but hopeful. "They will learn," she whispered. "They will remember that strength alone is not enough, and we, humans, will rise." Earth returned to its calm state. Storms faded, energy currents settled, and the shadows disappeared. The planet had tested the Empire, and in doing so, it had shown the galaxy a new truth. Humanity was not to be underestimated. The Empire had entered with arrogance and pride. They left with lessons they could never forget, and humanity, resilient, clever, and united, had proven that even against the greatest power in the galaxy, intelligence and courage could prevail. The trap had been set. The test had been passed. And a new chapter in human history had begun, one where the galaxy would come to respect the ingenuity, bravery, and spirit of Earth's people. And far away, in the silent depths of space, the Veyari whispered to each other, "They have passed the trial. The galaxy will watch, and humans will rise." The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity had claimed its place, not through conquest, but through resilience, intelligence, and heart. The Empire had learned the hardest lesson of all: never underestimate humans.